The great stars of the galaxy were shining brightly. Many spaceships floated silently, moving between worlds. Some were big ships, carrying thousands of passengers, while others were small, fast scout ships. But among them all, one ship stood. Out a ship called the RTEMIS. The Artemis was on a mission. It carried a crew of explorers from many planets. Their goal was to learn about Earth, the blue planet that everyone in the galaxy was talking about. Earth was strange, mysterious, and full of life. But something about Earth made the Galactic Council very worried. That the Galactic Council was a group of leaders from many planets. They watched the stars carefully. When they saw something dangerous, they sent warnings. And one day, they sent a very important warning. Stay away from Earth. Do not land. Something has changed. The message was clear and serious. But not everyone listened. The warning ignored. Captain Mira stood on the bridge of the Artemis. She was a tall woman with sharp eyes and calm hands. She had seen many dangers in her life, but this mission was different. "Captain," said Lieutenant Jacques, the communications officer, "the Galactic Council's warning just arrived again. They say Earth is unsafe." Mira looked at the hologram showing Earth. It was beautiful, a blue and green sphere, covered in clouds. But she felt a chill. Why? Was the council so afraid? Has anyone explained what happened? She asked. "Nothing specific," Jacques replied. "Just that we must not land or get close." But the message is old, over 10 years now. Mira thought hard. The Artemis was carrying scientists, engineers, and explorers, all eager to discover Earth's secrets. Many believed the warning was an old fear, maybe just a misunderstanding. "We are explorers," Mira said quietly. "We don't run away from mysteries. Prepare for descent. We will land." The journey to Earth, the journey down, was slow and tense. The Artemis entered Earth's atmosphere, glowing bright as it passed through thick clouds. Outside, the crew could see forests, mountains, and huge oceans. It looked peaceful, but as they landed, silence greeted them. No planes flew overhead. No cars moved on the streets. The cities were empty. Buildings stood tall, but no people walked. The roads. It was as if everyone had vanished. Lieutenant Jacques checked the scanners. "No signs of life," he said. "No heat, no radio signals. It's like a ghost planet." The crew moved out in small teams, wearing their exploration suits. They walked through cities and towns, calling out, but only echoes answered. Dr. Leela, the lead scientist, looked worried. "This isn't normal. Earth should be full of people. What happened here?" The strange silence. The crew gathered in what was once a large city. Cars lay abandoned. Stores were open, but empty. Phones still rang sometimes, but no one answered. Suddenly, the atmosphere changed. The air felt heavier. The sun hid behind thick clouds. Shadows moved quickly between buildings. "Did you see that?" whispered one of the crew, a young engineer named Taro. "Something is watching us." No one laughed. Everyone felt the same fear. That night, the crew camped inside an old museum. The walls were covered with pictures of Earth's past. But the silence was louder than the memories. Suddenly, a sound came, a faint whisper, barely heard. "Hello?" asked Mira, standing near the door. The whisper stopped. "Probably just the wind," said Jacques. But no one was sure. The missing crew member. The next morning, the crew found that Taro was missing. They searched everywhere. His helmet was found near a broken window. The doors showed no signs of forced entry. No tracks led away from the city. Dr. Lila felt cold. "He didn't leave on his own," she said. Suddenly, the security cameras showed something impossible. They recorded Taro talking to a figure no one else could see. The figure was invisible too. The cameras but moved and spoke to Taro. "What was that?" asked one of the crew. "Is this some kind of ghost?" Mira shook her head. "I don't know. But we need to be careful." The forgotten warning that night, Mira received a secret message on a private channel. It was from an unknown source, just one line. They warned you. They begged you to leave, but you stayed. Mira's heart raced. Who's this? What did it mean? She gathered the crew. The Galactic Council's warning was not just about Earth. Something is here. Something powerful. We ignored the message, and now we must be ready. The crew looked at each other, fear growing in their eyes. They were not alone on Earth, and whatever was here, it was waiting. The mystery deepens. Days passed. The crew found more strange signs. Old cities with no people. Technology still running, but no operators. Shadows that moved with no source, and that whisper ... Always whispering. One of the scientists found a strange symbol carved into a rock near the coast. It glowed faintly. Dr. Lila studied it carefully. This is not human, she said. It's a warning, something ancient. The crew now understood. The Galactic Council had seen this before. The message was clear. Earth had changed. And it was dangerous. The cliffhanger as the crew prepared to explore. Deeper, the ship's alarm suddenly rang. A signal came from deep underground, a faint distress call. It was human, but very old. Captain Mira looked at her crew. We have to go down there, she said. Whatever is waiting for us. It's calling. The crew felt the weight of the unknown pressing down on them. They had ignored the warning. Now the truth was about to be revealed. The Artemis crew gathered their courage and prepared to explore deeper into Earth's silent cities. Each step they took echoed loudly through empty streets. The silence was thick, almost like the planet was holding its breath. Strange signs. Everywhere Lieutenant Jack scanned the area with his handheld device. There's something strange here, he said, frowning. Machines ... They're still working, Dr. Leela nodded. Look at this. She pointed to tiny drones buzzing quietly above a ruined factory. They are still active, without any human control. How is that possible? Asked Taro, the engineer who had returned mysteriously last night. No one understood where he had been or what had happened to him. Taro only smiled slightly, as if holding a secret. Whispers in the dark. That night, the crew gathered inside a crumbling library. Outside, wind moaned through broken windows. Suddenly, soft whispers floated through the air. Did you hear that? Whispered Mira. The crew listened carefully. The voices were faint, almost like distant memories trying to speak. Jax's device picked up strange audio patterns. This isn't random, he said. Someone or something is trying to communicate. But the voices were in no language the crew recognized. The vanishing crew member. The next morning, panic struck again. Taro was missing once more. His helmet was found near the river, half submerged in water. But no footprints led away. The security footage showed him walking calmly down a street and then vanishing. Not into a building, not behind a corner, just ... disappearing. Where could he go? Asked Leela, fear creeping into her voice. Mira frowned. This place hides secrets we don't understand yet. A message from the past. The crew found a hidden room beneath the library. Inside were ancient recordings, videos from humans long gone. One showed a scientist speaking urgently. We have disturbed something beneath the surface. It is not alive like us. It watches, waits. The Galactic Council warned us, but we did not listen. Leela stared at the screen. They knew this danger years ago. That warning wasn't just a message, it was a plea. Invisible threat. Suddenly, the lights flickered. The air grew cold. Shadows seemed to move just beyond sight. One of the crew swore they saw shapes, dark figures slipping between walls. Mira ordered, "Stay together. Do not let your guard down." But deep down, she feared the warning had come too late. The cliffhanger as the crew decided to investigate the underground tunnels. Jax's scanner beeped wildly. There's something here. Something huge, he said. The ground trembled slightly beneath their feet. Myra's voice was steady but tense. We're not just exploring Earth anymore. We're stepping into a trap. After days of strange discoveries, the crew found a heavily guarded underground entrance hidden beneath the ruins of an old city. The entrance was marked with faded letters, Project Omega, authorized personnel only. Entering the forbidden zone, Captain Mira hesitated before stepping inside. The air was cold and heavy. The dark tunnel stretched ahead like a giant mouth waiting to swallow them whole. "Stay close," she warned the crew. The walls were covered with wires and strange symbols glowing faintly blue. The deeper they went, the louder the hum of machinery became. "This place was meant to be secret," Dr. Leela said, shining her flashlight on a control panel. "But someone left it active, or maybe it never stopped working." The lost recordings in a large room. They found old video terminals, still running. One by one, the crew watched recordings from Earth scientists, men and women who had worked in secret. One scientist spoke with fear in his voice. "We discovered something under the Earth's crust, something alive but not human. It reacts to sound and light. We tried to study it, but it started to change us." The screen flickered, then showed chaotic scenes, lights flashing, alarms ringing, people running. "A terrible discovery, Dr. Lila pointed at a map on the wall. "This is where the warning came from. The Galactic Council didn't want anyone near this site." Lieutenant Jax nodded grimly. "They called it the Forbidden Zone for a reason." Suddenly, the lights dimmed and an eerie green glow spread across the room. The crew felt a strange energy in the air, an electric charge that made their skin crawl. Something beyond understanding. Myra's scanner beeped loudly. It detected a large living organism deep inside the tunnel system, much bigger than any known creature. "It's not just alive," Jack said, voice trembling. "It's intelligent." As they moved further, the walls seemed to pulse, almost breathing. Then in the dark, a voice whispered, soft but clear, "You shouldn't be here." The cliffhanger. The crew froze. No one spoke. Suddenly the ground shook violently, and the tunnel entrance began to collapse behind them. Captain Mira shouted, "Run!" They raced through the tunnels as debris fell all around. But as they reached a fork in the path, a deep growl echoed from the shadows ahead, and then silence. After the terrifying collapse in the tunnels, the Artemis crew pushed deeper into the unknown underground maze. The air was thick, and strange noises echoed off the walls. Their lights barely pierced the darkness. The cryo chamber at the end of a long corridor, they found a large chamber sealed by thick glass. Inside was a figure lying perfectly still in a transparent pod filled with a glowing liquid. The pod was old, but advanced far beyond anything the crew had ever seen. Dr. Lila stepped forward, her hands trembling slightly. This is not human technology." Lieutenant Jax's scanner could not read the figure inside. "It's almost like the pod blocks all sensors." Against orders, Captain Mira raised her hand to stop the team from opening it. "We don't know what's inside. This could be dangerous." But Taro, the crew member who had vanished and returned, moved forward silently. His eyes were distant, almost empty. Before anyone could stop him, he pressed a button on the pod. The awakening, the liquid began to drain slowly. The figure inside started to stir. Eyes opened bright, glowing with an unearthly light. The being sat up and looked around. It spoke in a voice that echoed in their minds. No words, just feelings. Then in perfect galactic common, it said calmly, "I am home." The watchers, suddenly, the tunnel lights dimmed, and the crew felt unseen eyes on them. They realized they were not alone. Other pods, hidden in shadows, began to hum quietly. The being inside the pod smiled a cold, unreadable smile. Captain Mira's heart raced. "Who are you? What do you want?" The being's eyes glowed brighter. "I am the last of the old ones, and you are trespassing on Earth's new rulers." The cliffhanger, the chamber doors slammed shut behind the crew. Outside, the hum grew louder. The air vibrated with power. The crew understood one terrible truth. Earth was no longer the planet. They thought it was, and now they were trapped with something far more dangerous than they ever imagined. The Artemis crew was trapped inside the sealed chamber. The strange being, the last of the old ones, watched them silently, its glowing eyes never leaving their faces. The air grew heavy with an unseen pressure. The return of the missing crew member. Suddenly, the chamber doors hissed open. To everyone's shock, Taro stepped out calm, expressionless, and different. "No one said you could leave," Captain Mira warned, her voice steady but wary. Taro didn't answer. Instead, his eyes glowed faintly, the same eerie light as the day. "Old ones." He moved toward the control panel. Hands steady. Lieutenant Jacques whispered, "He's changed, controlled." "The true nature of Earth," the Old One spoke again, voice like a cold wind. "Earth is no longer ruled by individuals. It is governed by the hive mind, a collective consciousness formed from all who remained." Dr. Leela gasped. "A collective mind? Like one being?" The Old One nodded. "Yes, we were forced to merge to survive. Now the hive expands, reaching beyond Earth. The crew becomes bait." Captain Mira's heart pounded. "Why are we here?" The Old One's smile was cruel. "You were bait to test reactions. To see if the galaxy would interfere." Lieutenant Jacques clenched his fists. "You mean the Galactic Council warned everyone to keep us trapped here?" The being nodded slowly. "The galaxy fears what Earth has become, and soon the hive will spread. Number. Escape." Suddenly, the walls shimmered with energy. The crew's devices stopped working. The hive was blocking their technology. "We tried to leave," Mira said, voice low. "But now we are prisoners." The Old One's eyes gleamed brighter. "You belong to the hive now." The cliffhanger, the chamber filled with whispers, thousands of voices speaking as one. Taro stepped forward, now fully part of the hive. "Resistance is pointless. Join us. Or be consumed." Mira stared at him, torn between hope and fear. Outside the chamber, the world waited silent, watching, and ready. Trapped inside the hive's chamber, the Artemis crew felt the weight of hopelessness pressing down on them. But then, a sudden crack appeared in the darkness. A secret message flashed on a hidden comm channel. The rebels' warning. The message came from an unknown alien rebel, their voice urgent and low. The Galactic Council lied. They knew what Earth had become, and they wanted it contained, not helped. Captain Mira's eyes widened. "They lied to everyone?" The rebel continued. "The warning was never to protect us. It was to trap humanity and the rest of you inside a cage. A galaxy in fear." Lieutenant Jacques frowned. "Why? What are they so afraid of?" The rebel's voice was grim. "Humans changed. The hive is a new form of life, more powerful, more connected than any single species. The council fears what happens if it spreads." Dr. Leela shook her head. "We thought the council was our protector. But they were watching us like prisoners." The truth unfolds suddenly. The chamber's energy shifted. The Old One's eyes narrowed. "The council's secrets are fading," it said coldly. "Soon the hive will reach beyond Earth, beyond this prison." Captain Mira clenched her fists. "We can't let that happen." But the rebels' final words hung heavy. The galaxy ignored the warning. Now it's too late to stop the infection. The cliffhanger, the message cut off. Silence filled the chamber. Outside, Earth pulsed with unseen power. The hive was growing, and the crew knew. The real fight was only beginning. The Artemis crew stood trapped in the glowing chamber. The hive's whispers filled their minds, tempting them to surrender. But Captain Mira refused to give up hope. "Dangerous plan. We need to shut down the hive's core," Mira said firmly. "It's the only way to stop it from spreading and escape." Lieutenant Jacques nodded. There's a central control room deeper underground, but it's heavily guarded. Dr. Leela looked worried. If we fail, the hive will consume us completely. Moving. Through shadows, the crew moved quietly through dark tunnels, avoiding the glowing eyes watching from the shadows. Every step was a risk. The air buzzed with energy, and strange whispers tried to lure them off course. Taro walked ahead, silent but alert. His connection to the hive gave them a small advantage, but also made him unpredictable. The control room at last, they reached a massive door covered in alien symbols. Mira touched the panel, and the door slid open slowly, revealing a room filled with glowing machinery. In the center was a pulsating orb, the hive's core. It's alive, Leela whispered. The final choice. Mira looked at the orb, and then at her crew. This is it. We either destroy the core, or become part of the hive forever. Jax began setting explosives while Lila hacked the controls. Suddenly, the Old One appeared, blocking the exit. You cannot stop what has already begun, it said coldly. The cliffhanger explosions started to ripple through the tunnels. The crew ran toward the exit, but behind them, the hive's voice grew louder, promising endless power or eternal imprisonment. Mira glanced back. We fight, or we die trying. The Artemis crew sprinted through the collapsing tunnels, explosions shaking the ground behind them. The hive's core had been breached, but it wasn't dying quietly. A mind unleashed, the hive's voice filled the crew's minds, louder, angrier, more desperate than ever before. You were chosen to ascend. Why fight what you could become? Captain Mira shouted over the roar. We choose to stay human. The walls cracked as energy surged outward. Lightning-like veins of blue light raced through the ceilings and floors. The final stand as they neared the surface, the Old One reappeared, wounded, but still powerful. You do not understand. The galaxy abandoned Earth. We are evolution. Lieutenant Jax raised his weapon. You're a prison, not a future. Taro, standing silently, stepped forward. His eyes flickered between hive control and something else. He looked at Mira. Run, I'll hold it off. Taro, no, Lila started, but it was too late. A hero's sacrifice. Taro charged the Old One, drawing its attention as the crew escaped through a crumbling stairwell. Behind them, a flash of light burst from below. The core fully detonated. Hive screams echoed through every corridor. Then silence. Escaped to the surface. The crew burst onto the surface as the old city collapsed behind them. Smoke and light shot into the sky. The earth rumbled beneath their feet. They turned back and watched as the hive's influence slowly faded, the eerie glow vanishing from buildings and skies. Jax fell to his knees. We did it. It's over. But Myra didn't answer. She was staring at a distant mountain range where another light, faint, pulsing, had begun to shine. The cliffhanger ending. Lila's voice was quiet. That wasn't the only hive, was it? Captain Mira narrowed her eyes. No. This was just the beginning. Above them, a single Galactic Council drone hovered silently, watching.